My name's Greg Gosford, and I'm with Mapping Your Marketing. And we've done online stuff for a long time. So we help people not to build from scratch, use our tried and tested strategies for you just to get running doing most important things. One of those being video. And that's what we've been teaching here. And you're lucky because we're wrapping up the video challenge. And if y'all went to a different room, I understand. All my stuff is recorded on LinkedIn. You're going to start to see more and more posts. So they're coming out this week. So it's not a super time sensitive thing. The point is, we want you to become the business owner you always wanted to be, because you can have a full pipeline, because you know how to get your messaging right so you can attract and convert your customers. That said, Anna, do you want to tell them a little more?
Absolutely. So I am a content and copywriter, and I've been helping out with this video challenge by teaching the Ladder of Persuasion, which is 4 different rungs that help you build a really, really persuasive message, not just in video, but in all kinds of marketing. Today, we're going to talk about how to put those 4 rungs together so that they're extra persuasive, what order to present them into your audience. If you've missed the other ones, don't worry about it. Come to the room anyway. You have an opportunity to win a free 30-minute session working with me to put together how these rungs in the right order. Plus, in the meeting, we will recap what each one is, so you won't feel like you've missed out. But if you want your marketing to be truly effective, this is the room to be in today.
Perfect. Good work. Way to get somebody to bat for you there, Greg. I like it.
Hello, hello, hello. All right.
Hello.
Mr. Jim is with us and some of the new people. Excellent. Well, no worries. One thing that's great about this, we're going to review what we've been talking about. It's really kind of interactive.
We'll have no problem with that.
Yeah, and because it's really a summation one. And the recordings, so like they said, we record the room, so they're up on my YouTube channel, which I will share. And so it's actually kind of interactive. Anna's got some stuff to go through. But the point is, especially in like a small room like this, you know, it's everybody's here. Like, let's all help each other, right? So don't be shy. Please do not be shy. Raise your hand, you know, interrupt if you have a question, interact when we ask, because we're here for you. Like, we want to give you value. We want you to walk away and improve your messaging. So that said, I'm going to let Anna take away the Ladder of Persuasion.
All
Greg,
right,
would
thanks.
you please post your YouTube channel?
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and post in the chat, Greg, the session 2 and session 3 videos?
Yep, I'll put those up while you're talking.
Thanks, Chuck. So one of the things that I'm working on is we have a wheel that will allow us to pick a winner at the end of the session for who gets a free 30-minute session with me. So it's great that there's so many people here. I'm excited. So we've been talking about the Ladder of Persuasion, and the Ladder of Persuasion is a marketing framework. You can use it for video. You can use it for any other kind of marketing you want to do. And we've been applying it to video because that's, you know, this is the video room. This is Tech Corner talking about specific technology. Mm-hmm. But it's really widely applicable to any part of your business. So that's kind of what's exciting to me, is that it's so universal. However, most people are not aware of it, and most people don't go beyond the second rung of the ladder. So what it is if you imagine a ladder with 4 rungs, the bottom rung is the least persuasive, and the top rung is the most persuasive. So the bottom rung is features. All of us have seen companies that are like, we have the very best technology, and it's 737 CD ABJ and certified ISO 6 billion and whatever, right? Those are features. Those are things that you get when you give someone money. That's a feature. Some people get confused and think that like meetings with them and Facebook groups are benefits, but they're not. They're features. Mm-hmm. These are all things you get when you give someone money. Now, you might think that the features are particularly valuable, and that's great because that's the next step on the ladder. The second step on the ladder is benefits. This is as far as most companies ever go. So features, what you get when you give someone money. Benefits, why those features matter to the customer, right? So if you say, you know, my technology is ISO 6 billion certified, blah, 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 why does that matter? It matters because I have a high level of security and you can have confidence that your data is not going to go anywhere, right? That's the benefit to the feature. So as you build the ladder of persuasion, which you do behind the scenes, you can list the features of what you have and then the benefit of each feature. And as you go up the ladder, you might discover that some of your features don't map to benefits that are particularly important. And that's okay. That just means that's not a feature and a benefit you're going to highlight when you get to your final marketing push. Most people want you to highlight or focus on less than 5 things anyway. So it's good to be able to like narrow it down to the most impactful. So the third rung on the ladder, the first week we talked about features and benefits and how to build those. Last week we talked about the second 2 rungs, which are outcomes and transformations. So the third rung is outcome. Outcome is, here's a benefit. What happens to the customer because they have that benefit, right? So for instance, somebody who has a coaching program and their feature is that they have weekly sessions that they present. The benefit would be that the customer is going to gain self-confidence and have a better presence about themselves as a result of the session. The outcome might be that they're able to operate more effectively at work, get promotions, have better relationships, find Mr. or Mrs. Right, whatever it would be. These are things that happen in your life because you're confident, and you're confident because of the session. You see how these are all building on each other?
I do. I want to jump in there and just make sure that everybody's tracking this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
I didn't write fast enough. Can you give us the first definition of outcome?
Yeah. Outcome is what happens in the customer's life because of the benefit. So if the benefit is someone is going to be more confident, what happens to someone who is confident? Well, they have a better presence at work and that can help them in their career. But you want to be specific, you know, you'll get promoted, you'll be noticed more, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And the final rung is transformation. Transformation can be a hard one to get your head around because it's your big promise. It's like when you work with me, you're going to have these benefits that lead to these outcomes in your life. And these outcomes are going to result in you being someone you've always wanted to be, right? So when you see advertising running around saying, I can make you a successful millionaire in 2 weeks, right? That's the transformation. That's who they're going to become. Now, where people fall down is if they do bother to have a big promise, they don't back it up. And so they sound like snake oil salesmen, right? Like, sure you are, go away. And so what the ladder of persuasion does is it allows you to back up their promise and say, you're going to have a major transformation because, and then you go into the rest of your ladder. So that's what the rungs of the ladder are. And I'm going to talk about how to build them into a really persuasive message.
Can you give
So
an
I just
So-
want to pause for a sec. Like everybody
Sorry,
clear on the
go ahead.
transformation, those difference between the outcome and the transformation. That one took
Yes.
me a little bit.
Yeah,
John?
John, go ahead, please.
I hear it, but how about giving a concrete example? Because that's as a result of working with me, you're going to get more profits. Great.
Right.
That's great for
So-
a business owner. Who does the business owner become as a result of that?
The business owner becomes someone who achieves the goals they had when they started the business. People who start businesses instead of having jobs don't do it just for giggles. They do it because they have a vision in their head of what life can be like, and that's what they're trying to achieve.
Well,
If it happens,
if you have a
Go
client or something that you've done this for, why don't you just share an example of the whole ladder up to transformation?
okay, cool. So I did this with a video marketing person. What she did is she provided 90-second videos that allowed business owners to promote themselves on the internet. So here's her ladder. The feature was that they got a 90-second video that was done in high quality and it was done remotely and blah, blah, blah. The benefits were that the business owner was able to promote themselves on multiple platforms, they build their brand, and they were able to increase their visibility and get more eyes on their business. The outcome was that the business owner's pipeline was more full, they got more sales, they had more profitability, and they were able to keep their business going without a feast or famine cycle. That transformation was that they were able to become the successful business owner they had dreamed of being without the stress of wondering where the next paycheck was going to come from or where the next client was going to come from.
Thank you.
So they were able to have that level of success without the worry and the stress that comes from being on your own.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions?
And with regard to marketing, I talk about these things in a general way. And so I can do that with excitement in my voice about the kind of transformations my clients have achieved. And then what I presume we'll be able to do through today is talk about how this ladder is going to support that kind of statement. But when I'm doing any kind of video or one-to-one conversation, I'm going to talk with them about the kind of transformation my clients have achieved.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the way you build the ladder is if you imagine that features is 1 and transformation is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up. When you present it 4, 1, 2, 3. And that is, you lead with the big promise, but you immediately explain how you help them achieve that promise by hitting on your features, benefits, and outcomes. For the video client that I just discussed, it sounded like this. I'm going to help you become the business owner you've always dreamed of being with none of the stress, because I'm going to provide you with high quality 90-second videos that are going to help you expand your brand and market yourself on multiple platforms so that you can fill your pipeline and have more profits with less variability.
Mm-hmm.
You see how much more persuasive that is than just, you can be $1 million business owner tomorrow? You're really backing it up with what you offer and why you can get them from point A to point B. So then they end up believing you, and you're creating an extremely strong connection between what you offer and the big outcome, the big transformation they're looking for. Because when you start with that big promise and go immediately into your features, that connection is like steel. Like you're making a solid note. This big transformation comes from the video because of X and Y. There you go. And that's why it's so powerful, because once you've built it and you present it that way, you can do anything from a 30-second elevator pitch to an entire sales page using that framework, explaining each step.
That's what I
And-
found was the challenge, if I can jump in, is so what would the speaking of challenges, what it's been the last couple of weeks, and I know Catherine's done some, so I'd like to have your feedback on what you thought and how it went. Was like making a 60-second video, features and benefits, another one on outcomes and transformations. I made mine, but by the time I was done, I already wanted to redo it, but perfect, better than done. And I know I got another one coming. And I had to find that I had to par my stuff down, and I imagine this is the case with you all. You're probably really great at what you do. You offer many things. There's probably many benefits, and we can't say them all, especially in the shorter version. And then when she said like the longer sales page or something that gives you a chance to go to them, but picking like the most impactful was what I had to whittle mine down for when I had a shorter thing. And so that said, the last video in the challenge is going to be, like under 2 minutes, that would talk about all of these things. And if you're very eloquent, you can get it less, but there's so much we don't want to leave anything out. Does that make sense? Everybody tracking that? Like how this one's different than the others. You'll be able to go watch yours. And there's a method here, like doing this one first and learning, right? And doing the second one next and learning. And then the last one is like figuring out the best way to put it all together and in a different order. So remember, it goes 4, 1, 2, 3. So you start with the end, and then you basically tell them how you're going to get them there. Catherine.
Well, that was interesting because when I went to do the video and I looked at my notes, I put it all together, right? So, and I'm like, all right. So then when I went to post it, I realized I was to break it up. However, it's a very valuable exercise to do because I found when I was doing mine, I think I was working to put too many things in it, and I don't know if it's as clear as it can be, right? So that's why I said draft 1. Because, right, because like you, Greg, it was as soon as I got it done and looked at it, it's just like, oh, well, I see where there's a lot of room for improvement here.
And, I apologize if I made it seem super simple because I gave an example of somebody that I'd already worked with. Like that was something I had already done. So it took time. It took it took repeated, run-throughs to figure out how to frame her product as persuasively as possible, as engagingly as possible. She wanted to add, she has a ton of different features. She does things remotely. She has specific software she uses. She does overlays and she does graphics and she has words and just all these different things. But in the end, we had to get down to what mattered to the customer when it came to helping them become the business owner without the stress. And that was a 90-second high-quality video. That's all the features that she got. You see, we had to really pare it down because we had to think from the customer's perspective. When the customer contacts you for that discovery call, they can find out more about what you do. But what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to get that attention and say, here's what you're going to get when you give me money. And here's why it matters to you. And here's what'll happen so that you can become X, whatever it is. So we really did have to pare it down, and it was the same for the benefits and for the outcomes, the full pipeline and profitability were the ones that we decided as far as outcomes would get the most attention, but there were lots of other outcomes. We just pared them down as we worked together.
Those are pretty great ones. I modeled some of those. So show of hands, like you guys all have like probably your features and your benefits written down, or at least kind of solid in your head, right?